What's going on, guys? Mo Jackman Games here with my good pal Fortune.
What's up, guys?
And he has a deck for us that you guys have seen Kevin play on Throwing Stones, if I'm not mistaken. And what is this deck, James?
This deck is Kevin's Happy Place. It is
Thrawn
and Wolf
Colonel Sanders
with Jedi Temple.
and you've got quite a bit of games in with it so far, and what do you think about it so far?
So first off, it's basically Thrawn Snoke with Snoke replaced by Wolf, leaning more towards the control aspect rather than the support aspect. The original one is that Kevin built is about 8 cards different from this one. I swapped them out before the event to focus a little bit more on the supports. The problem with this deck is it controls amazing. It rips your opponent's entire hand out before they can do anything with it, but then you're dealing no damage, and they are, and you don't really have any way as red mono to defend against it. So it can't mill because it's not doing it fast enough, and it can't kill because it's not doing it fast enough. So I changed some stuff to be able to get more damage out. That way, I think it works. It's just a little bit too slow for the current meta.
Yeah, with hyper aggro going around, you're not able to hit any of those cards in their hand, or it doesn't matter at that point.
As I mentioned in the Thrawn, or how to take down the Thrawn Snoke meta way back in my last article, the way that I thought to do it would be with hyper aggro, like something with Boba Phasma or Snoke Gad, and
or Boba Snoke.
Yeah, or Boba Snoke. And the meta is definitely going that way with more people playing aggro and hyper aggro now. And with those faster decks, this just doesn't work as well.
Yeah, I can see that. But maybe it not because that rotation won't be able to.
Yeah, that rotation Thrawn's gone.
Yeah, so it's a really good fun deck, and I think we're gonna kind of put some more tweaks into it a little more time, because I think that it's something like we like. It's a fun deck overall. But yeah, let's see the list.
Alright, so just going off the characters real quick, we all know what Thrawn's there for. He gets rid of a card. He uses his sides for resources. Wolf's there most of the time, honestly, just to give me hand information. I may be playing the deck wrong, but the way that I use it is first action, see everything that's in their hand, so I know exactly what to get rid of with Thrawn. And then this deck also runs Grand Moff along with Jedi Temple, so hopefully if they're an event-heavy hand, I can get rid of all their stuff before I even roll characters in.
I was about to say, also, with that being your first action, the longer the game goes and Wolf doesn't die, he's able to just
take a card
out,
right up the sprite from
and
the
you're like, okay, that works.
Alright, so that's the characters and why they're there. Also worth noting that with Chance Cube down, this deck generates as many resources as Snoke Thrawn does, which is ridiculous. So, characters are down. The support suite that's in the deck is 4 TIE Fighters. They're in there for your consistent damage, drop them all down, and get as many dice out as you can.
Or your consistent blanks.
Or your consistent blanks, but not with the other cards in the deck. ATST is there for mirror matches against vehicle decks and also against reset decks like Shadowcaster or Fire Spray or anything like that.
Or Fist.
Or Fist, because it does get rid of supports, not specifically vehicles. And of course, it's got a huge damage side, which is another big point about this deck. It controls the hand, so as long as everything's running well, you get rid of all the mitigation from their hand, and then you focus all of your sides to max damage and throw it all out there. Another theme going along with the hand mitigation is Vigilance. So that's there to get rid of focuses and Yoda specials once you've ripped out their entire hand. Yeah, so they have no way to change what they've rolled in.
Well, so that makes Yoda have 3 blanks.
Basically. Well, I mean, his specials still do stuff, but they're there to focus on the dice.
They can't focus chain or anything like that, so that's crazy.
Alright, so that's the support the support suite. Really, these are your 4 big damage sides. You don't usually have to worry about them getting mitigated, though, because you're getting rid of all their events.
Would you play anything extra? Like, would you think about like a Hailfire or so?
There were definitely. I thought about putting Planetary Bombardment in. Because you definitely generate the resources for it, and the extra indirect when you drop it's really good. But there's just not the space in the deck.
Yeah, I got you.
At least not with what I found. I don't really have any cards that I would immediately take out of it for something else.
It'd be something that we definitely have to take time to look into.
Right.
I got you.
Alright, so on to the upgrades. We got 2 Grand Moffs because they're incredibly important. You're running Jedi Temple, which means that with a power action from this, you can look at their hand, get free information for Thrawn. You can also immediately discard 2 events from it. And if they have 3 mitigation cards in their hand, Grand Moff, get rid of 2, Thrawn, get rid of the other one. Your dice are free to do whatever you want. It also has some really good focuses and indirect damage to get some more damage out there. Speaking of damage, we've got the hand cannons. They're literally just there for some in-game damage for if you need it. And then rocket launcher also does some damage, but it's really just there for the specials to get rid of things like Shadowcaster, etc. And then chance cubes, 2 of them to make sure that we get them, and they're there to generate all the resources that this deck needs. Because if you haven't noticed, everything costs a lot.
Yeah, so this is slowly becoming like one of my favorite cards of the not the format, but like of that set, because it's just so powerful.
Yeah, I mean it's an auto include in a lot of decks that don't normally include weapon upgrades. Like Thrawn Snoke's a vehicle deck, but it still runs these in its aggro version because it just dumps damage out.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna roll it in with everything, and you're gonna take a lot more than you should.
Right. So that's all the upgrade suites. Next up is gonna be a set of cards that I added in. Actually, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the 8 cards that I changed are these 7 cards here, and they all focus on the supports to be able to make them more consistent. So once you get all your TIE fighters down, you use Deploy Squadron to activate them all. Then you want to do some in tandems to turn all their dice to max damage. Attack formations to increase their
blowouts.
Yeah, you can increase their single range damage to 5 damage or 6 indirect if you wanted.
That's insane.
And then first strike is just there to get some surprise damage from hand from your opponent's dice.
Hey man, hand damage. Shout out to Jeff, right? Jeff was the one that wrote the article.
Yep. Yeah, it's surprise from hand from Headless Shingo. And this one's really good against the other matches that were teched into the deck, like Shadowcaster and Vader's Fist. They rolled in that big damage side, you first strike and deal that damage right back to them. It's punishment for them having big dice out.
My only thing about this card, and I've spoken it to you, is just kind of like the fact that it doesn't do anything to that die. It just kind of throws the damage at them, but it leaves it there for you to still take it.
Yeah, but it's there as a closer. So
right.
Your opponent has 3 or 4 health left. You've used all your dice. They roll in Vader's Fist, and now they're dead.
Yeah, and they're at the point where they're trying to overextend it, make sure they can finish you off, and they're like, "Hi, you killed yourself."
Yeah, exactly. So that's all of that, and then the last bit is going to be the mitigation. Non-mitigation, but in still the same set, is probe. Kind of mitigation, and then it mitigates your opponent's mitigation, which, as I've been saying, is what this deck wants to do, so it can focus to a lot of damage.
So it can do whatever it wants.
So combination of probe, Grand Moff, and Thrawn. If they have an event-heavy hand, the entire hand's gone before you even activate. Well, when you activate Thrawn. It's just stupid strong. I threw Art of War in there. I'd rather it be best defense, but all of mine disappeared while I was building this deck. So, yeah. Art of War is in there. It's really good. Mass mitigation. And you have perfect hand knowledge with Thrawn and Grand Moff and everything else.
Was it good during the tournament?
I used it in 1 round, and the 1 round that I used it, it removed 4 of my opponent's dice. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay. Well, that works.
Next up is some Imposing Presence. They came in handy, but not as often as I would want them to. Early game, they were better. Late game, my opponent would basically roll in their maxed out character immediately and have all these dice out there that I couldn't do anything with. So I'd probably want to swap these out for something else, but honestly, a mono red villain, I don't know what I'd want to swap them out for yet.
I don't know, I feel like they're just always live, though.
Not first thing in the round they aren't, when your opponent has all their cards. But the next 2 mitigation is Pin Down. Once you get a TIE Fighter ATST down, immediately live, immediately good. Not really anything else to say about that, it just helps out. And then against any decks that roll in a ton of dice, we got Sound the Alarm to just try and keep you alive for that one more step.
Something.
So, of these cards, these 2 aren't really damage mitigation. So we've got 7 mitigation cards, 2 of which are amazing, 2 of which are situationally good, or 3 of which are situationally good, and 2 that I don't really like but are there for mass dice change. The biggest problem that I've seen with this deck is that it's red villain, and there's just, your mitigation suite is non-existent in red villain.
Yeah.
So, this is kind of the best of the worst, but it works, and it gets the job done. The deck went, 2 and 3, and of those 3 that I lost, 1 was lost due to a misplay, and the other 2 were just a ton of dice being out there that I couldn't do anything about. So if I can figure out a way to swap out some of these mitigation cards to allow me to mitigate higher numbers of dice or to at least change them, then it'll be a little bit stronger. But as of right now, I think it's a fun deck, just needs to be made a little bit faster or a little bit more defensive.
I was about to say, even though it went 2 and 3, it competed in every game that it played. Like you never sat down.
The very
just
last
like,
game, I rolled 30 blanks in a row. That's an overstatement, but it was every rollout was a blank, just blank, blank, blank. So I didn't really compete in that round, but the other 4 rounds were all either wins or very close games.
Right.
In fact, I only lost one of those by like end action. So yeah, it was pretty close.
Okay. Well, guys, this was Kevin's happy place, but it was piloted by our very own Fortune. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.
See you later.